Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today's video we're going to be talking about Magneto. The video that I released yesterday went over the abilities that had been leaked at that point, but since then we have had a lot of gameplay posted, a lot of testing footage on live streams, which I largely tried to go through and kind of like take the points that I were concerned that I was interested about, and actually form my opinion of exactly where Magneto is going to rank up as a champion, exactly how useful he's going to be, where he's going to be useful, what are his strong suits, what are his weak suits, how good he's against non-metal champions, so on and so forth. And overall, before I kind of like discuss anything and everything else, obviously, huge thank you to the CCP members for releasing all of that awesome gameplay. I watched Brian Grant streams, Katie Candy streams, Seaton's videos, Karate Mike's videos, and who else I watched? Ridge the Man uploaded some Magneto stuff as well. Basically, I just scrolled through entire YouTube checking for everything Magneto related that has been released in the last 24 hours, and there is a lot of very impressive stuff. So first and foremost, the animations have not been changed at all whatsoever, which actually is extremely beneficial for Magneto, especially considering his heavy attack in relation to Abyss of Legends, which is what we're going to get to a bit later. But first and foremost, seeing how Magneto's kit works, and obviously all of those benefits against metal champions, and typically his comic history as well. One of the first questions that arised obviously with this buff is how good is he going to be against non-metal champions, and whether he will be able to deliver a lot of damage versus them. And it turns out that he still hits like an absolute truck against non-metal champions. Here we have a casual level 2 critting for 230k against Storm, who is not metal champion. And yeah, so everything's kind of like sorted and awesome there. Obviously, he does lose a lot of his kit, a lot of his utility. Opponents are not metallic. However, when it comes to purely kind of like shredding into them, having access to debuffs, to buffs, so on and so forth, then he's still perfectly capable of delivering, and that alone makes him head and shoulders above many new champions that are being released. Herald. Okay, whatever. So here we have like, yeah, a huge 230k special against non-metallic Storm from Brian Grant's live stream. My face is a bit in front of Brian's face over there, but just to be completely kind of transparent. So yeah, that is against non-metal champions. We can see a good example of Brian finishing off a fight in Realm of Legends with 18 hits. I believe Hector or somebody uploaded a fight where he finished Winter Soldier in like 9 hits as well, which is crazy. Which is a crazy amount of damage. So Magneto, with this single aspect of being able to deliver such huge amount of damage with extremely small amount of hits, by definition seems to fit perfectly for Abyss of Legends, which you're going to get to in a second. And well, yeah, so here we go. And also his damage against metal champions that are bleed immune, so let's say robots, is quite off the charts now. His level 3 damage against bleed immunes will be toned down. That much has been revealed by Seaton in his latest video, saying that currently his damage, if it wouldn't be capped, it would actually deliver like 1,000,000 damage or close to that. And its max performance a bit crazy, so they're gonna bring that damage in line with the amount of bleed damage he does. So that would basically kind of equal it out, which is still extremely large amount of damage, so he's still going to be extremely hard hitting champion. Now, my only hope is that he also delivers a lot of damage after that level 3, like we can see here, where Magneto casually drops and nearly a 50k medium on Abyss Darkhawk. And what impressed me most is possibly this point in the fight where we can see that there are still 41 charges left on that Darkhawk, so it means it's only about 1/3 of a fight length or even less that could be possible. And Darkhawk's already down to 60%, so that means he will be able to actually one-shot plenty of these fights in Abyss of Legends, and he could arguably be one of the better Abyss of Legends champions, and that is quite crazy. That is kind of gonna be a reason enough for many people to rank him up, just because of that huge amount of damage he's able to deliver per hit and therefore correlation it gives to Abyss of Legends and the fact that he's going to be able to finish a lot of fights extremely cheaply. So it's very interesting, very promising, and obviously very exciting at the same time. Also, the fact that there is no limber and you can parry till the day's end in Abyss of Legends is super helpful for Magneto, which is an important thing for Magneto. The fact that you can land those parry stunts, and he is kind of like a parry heavy champion, at least kind of like in his ideal conditions. Much more so than, let's say, Colossus is actually, because Colossus does need to be able to block, but he does not necessarily need that parry stun. He can just go in those level 2 loops and generate a lot of armor breaks, armor ups there, and still have a lot of damage even if he doesn't get that passive fury. Now, Magneto does need to charge his heavy attack for, well, a lot and knock down his opponents frequently, so there is a bit of a downside to that. But we're going to discuss that towards the end of the video. There was also some test footage on Brian Grant's stream against Kang from variant 3, the tech variant. So first and foremost, Magneto still has halved attack, 50% attack reduction because it is tech variant, and he still is absolutely shredding that Kang. With that passive heal block, which he has access to via synergy, and that absolute mega bleed. Here we can see, even though the bleed damage is halved, so it's like 7,400. So on a regular fight, it would be 14, nearly 15k bleed, which is quite insane. And yeah, so he was able to finish out that fight and one-shot that Kang as well, which is cool. Additional, a super useful piece of utility for Magneto is the fact that he arguably has the easiest access to Unstoppable buff, because Unstoppable buff in game is extremely kind of like potent, extremely dangerous, and typically it's quite tricky to access. And when you do, it's not on your will, and it's not quite I don't know, convenient or for a long time. And Magneto, you just need to charge heavy attack and you're gonna get that Unstoppable buff. So by extension, you will be pretty much able to absolutely ignore that pesky can't stop, won't stop node, which is a huge pain in the ass, and he will offensively be pretty much best unstoppable champion, I think, especially for that node in particular. So that is another kind of like huge plus, because that is one of the bigger problem nodes in MCOC in general when it comes to endgame, Act 6 and stuff like that. And yeah, it's pretty much one of the most hated nodes in Alliance Quest Map 7, and that alone will give Magneto kind of like a demand, I would say, and many people will rank him up for the simple fact that he has that access to Unstoppable so easily. So that is extremely valuable. And yeah, then there are some fights from Katie Candy's stream, and this bit is from Seaton's latest video where he casually drops a level 2 for 362k. Definitely go check out that video. There are some insane numbers, some insane damage, and yeah, not many champions can put up such a big yellow numbers, and he's gonna be up there with some of the hardest hitting champs in my opinion, especially when you're gonna count it at damage per hit, which again is super important for Abyss of Legends. And that all being said, we definitely do have to discuss the kind of like obvious weakness. He is going to be a parry heavy champion at large, so any matchup where you have troubles landing parry stun or opponents are stun immune, you will struggle a lot, and your damage output will either be much more tricky to ramp up, or you simply will not be able to do so. Now, just because you can't parry stun the opponent doesn't mean you cannot knock them down with a heavy attack or charge your heavy attack whilst being unstoppable. But at the same time, that will require you to have much better control of spacing, of timing. It will require you to play slower and smarter, or in many instances take some extra block damage, so on and so forth. So that being said, obviously there will be weaknesses to Magneto, and that is quite an obvious one. At the same time, any matchup where you can stun the opponent, you will be able to deliver some insane damage. And if opponent is Metal Champion, you will be able to pretty much shut them down completely. And all of that kit that he comes combined, put together, ignoring auto block, ignoring miss mechanics, reducing ability accuracy, passively, well, reversing slightly all of the regeneration effects, plus having all of that extra attack perfect block chance, will make him into an absolute unit, an absolute tank. Now, he will not be the best scenario for every single fight, but no champion really is. He will definitely have his limitations, but in his matchup, he is going to be pretty much the best option, hands down, for plenty of problem fights. And now I will enable display capture here. Once again, we're going to pop in the Aunt May and filter out all of the metallic champions in game. Currently, I'm going to hide my face here for a second. Whoops, wrong button. So there we go. And champions that are hidden in corner are Warlock, Wasp, Old Man Logan, and Ghost, by the way. And there are so many bad defenders. I mean, annoying defenders. Like Guillotine 2099 is an extremely tricky opponent. Then we have Darkhawk, who basically has been built to be one of the more annoying opponents to face, especially in kind of like Act 6 boss. He's super annoying, so on and so forth. Then we have Mojo, then we have Modok, Morningstar, and so many of them very, very annoying champions. And him just being able to walk through pretty much all of them is extremely valuable. And that alone, in my opinion, pretty much automatically warrants the fact that everybody should have access to a highly ranked Magneto. And provided that he comes into contest as he is, or close to as he is, he will be a definite staple in pretty much any roster. In my personal opinion, the fact that he handles Suicide Masteries extremely well makes him also super friendly to most of the summoners, whether you like Suicide Masteries or not. And yeah, I am personally quite convinced that unless something drastically changes, Magneto is going to be going pretty much straight up to rank 3 on my account, because as far as I'm concerned, I have seen enough. I know that if that champion gets released in the game as he is right now, will definitely benefit me, and I think pretty much every single summoner playing this game seriously. So yeah, Magneto hype is real, the leaked abilities turn out to be real, and he's a beast. Now that we have seen the numbers, the gameplay definitely is a beast. And that will do for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.